We saved the easiest for last. Okay, this should be by far the easiest topic of the unit. So what we're doing is piecewise functions today. Piecewise functions, they're giving you the x. They're giving you the x every time, and you're trying to find the y. Okay, the reason why it's called piecewise is because you'll see when with the graphs, it's literally broken into pieces. So it's not like graphs that you've ever seen before where like it's a quadratic where it's a U shape that just is like a constant graph, or it's a linear that just is a straight line. This one has different shapes in different areas of the graph, which is why it's called piecewise, because there's just pieces. So you're going to see open and closed circles in these graphs. Okay, we've talked about open and closed circles since middle school. We talked about it again at the beginning of this year when we were doing our inequalities, and we were referencing them for dashed or solid lines. So a closed circle means it. You would think that people that didn't get 100% on their checkpoint and didn't even get a passing grade on the checkpoint, or haven't been here like multiple days in the last week, would be more interested in actually paying attention to the topic so that they wouldn't feel as lost than they would just about socializing. So, before I was rudely interrupted by people socializing, guaranteed not about math class or piecewise graphs. A closed circle you have a question?
Sorry, I don't know if I can speak or not. How come yours says for open versus closed circles as the x value is blank circle, and then ours doesn't say that?
I don't know. For whatever, it's not on your sheet at all?
Not that.
It is. It's on the bottom of the page before. So, but my first time when I uploaded it, it completely chopped off that part with the formatting. So with a closed circle, it means it includes that number. An open circle, it does not. So when you have the choice to choose either the value, the y value, when it has a closed circle or an open circle, you want the closed circle. And that was lovely. Let's try that again. You want the closed circle each time. Do not choose the open circle if you want to get it right. If you want to get it wrong, you can choose the open circle. But if you want to get it right, you want to choose the closed circle. Okay, so here we're trying to find h of 4. Again, if a number is in the parentheses, what is that value? The x. So we need to find where x equals 4. X equals 4 right here. We have to see where it hits the graph. What's the y value? 5. That's your answer. The h of 0, where x equals 0, y equals 0. Where x equals a negative 5, y equals negative 4. Whoopsies. I'm so glad that I chose red. There we go. Where h equals 5, y equals 7. where h equals -4, or x equals -4. Which one do we want there? The closed circle. We want this guy, which is at -3. If you chose -4, you would get it wrong because it does not equal -4 at that open circle. It starts there but does not include that. Yes? Are you sure? Ask whatever question you have. Okay, h of 2, the x of 2 is right there. Which value are we going to want? 1, because we want the closed circle. Okay, so they're giving you the x, you need to find the y. If there's an open versus a closed circle, you're choosing the value of the closed circle because that's the one where it does equal that number. Okay, I want you to try this one on your own.
Is this just like one problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just using the same graph. So it's way easier than like composite where you're looking at different functions graph and having to take a value from one into the other. It's just that it's broken up into different pieces. Just put the number. I can't remember if like for the test if we give you like answer blanks or if you just write in equals whatever. What was that? No. So if it was an open circle and there was no closed circle, then it would be a no solution. I don't think that's going to happen though. Are you looking at the graph? D is F is 1. There's.
He's saying because it's like an open circle.
But it's on the line. It's not the actual circle.
At x equals 1, there's an open circle?
He's saying
are we watching?
The line is connected to the open circle. That's why I had to believe that.
That's the only piece that doesn't equal. The line it equals. The only piece that it doesn't equal, it goes up to that point but doesn't include that point. Okay? So x is a -6. Bam. Did you guys get 7 for that first one? No, the open circle is just for that exact value, not for any lines that are connected with an open circle. It's just that particular like exact spot. So here we've got a -3. What value are we taking?
4.
4 is correct. We want that closed circle. Okay. What about 0? No, it's just coincidental that they both happen to go right at that origin.
1.
Okay. At 1, it is 1. At 2, 1 again. Yes. Yes. And then at 5 is 4. Okay? So for the graphing, thumbs up, down, sideways. Okay, good. That's basically where everybody's been so far today. Okay? Now we're going to go into equations or expressions. Okay? I will give you 2 strong suggestions. Okay, so my first strong suggestion to you when we're dealing with expressions is to draw a line where the expression ends and where the quantifier begins. So if you draw a line, you're like saying, okay, I need to just focus on this expression. This is telling you what x's you're going to use that expression for. So if we have x plus 2 and the negative absolute value of x, we have to figure out which x values we're going to use which expression. So on the green one, it says for x's that are less than or equal to 2. Now I'll tell you why people struggle the most on expressions. Why people struggle the most on expressions is either not knowing what the inequality is saying or not paying enough attention to like whether it's a less than or equal to sign. So here it's saying when the x's are less than or equal to 2. Is -1 less than or equal to 2?
Less than.
Okay, so now here is strong suggestion number 2. You guys know that I like using colors. I go through and I look at all of my problems before I start doing any math, and I decide which expression I'm going to use. So if you don't use colors, that's fine. You could do like a straight line under one problem and a wavy line under another. So here we've got the wrong color. What the heck? Ah. There we go. All right, so this one is an x value that's less than or equal to 2. What about 4? No. What about -3? Yes. What about 0? Yes. What about 2? Yes, because it has an equal to. If it did not have the line underneath it, the 2 would not fall into that. So now the only part that's going to be using the blue is just B. And your guys' paper looks way better. It messed up my formatting as always when I put it over. So we've got A, B, C, D, E. I'm going to do all the greens together instead of like bumping back and forth between different equations. So for my green, I'm putting a -1 in for the x. So -1 plus 2. For C, I'm putting in a -3 plus 2. For E, I'm putting in 2 plus 2. D, 0 plus 2. Okay? Now, if you want to do all your math at the same time, you could put in the work for the blue, or you can just add these. -1 plus 2. -1 plus 2. +1. -3 plus 2. -1 for that one. Okay, 2 plus 2. 4. 0 plus 2. 2. I didn't go in order, but that was really quick, right? We kept the same expression for each of those. Now for B, we've got the negative absolute value of 4. What's the absolute value of 4? Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. How many spaces is 4 from 0? 4 spaces, and then we're going to make it a negative. The only time on an absolute value when you're going to have a negative for an answer is if there's a negative sign outside. Because, George, if I asked you what the absolute value of a -3 is, that would be how many spaces -3 is from 0. How many spaces is it from 0? 3, because you can't have a negative distance. So because the absolute value is the distance something is from 0, it's never negative inside the lines. Okay, I want you to try this one. Again, I would draw a line between the expression and the quantifiers. So the quantifiers are just going to tell you where x is going to fall. Again, because I've got the colors, I would color code mine. You could do a wavy line, a straight line, and a dashed line or something.
So the graph was so easy, and then
you just didn't get to see the last one, but you'll be fine with this. Okay? So your biggest thing is that you are needing to understand what the inequalities are saying. Yeah, that's what is going to be the thing that messes people up in this, is that the x's are less than or equal to -2. So only the x's that are less than or equal to 2 are the ones that are going to use blue. Is 5 less than or equal to -2? No. 4 less than or equal to -2? No. 0? 0 is less than or equal to a -2? No. -2? Yes, because it's equal. So, and what about -3? Yes. It won't. Because one would either be an open. So this is where that whole open and closed circle comes in. It's correct. So why it's asking, what if something falls into two equations? That's not going to happen. Okay? Now for the green, we want x's that are in between -2 and 4, but not including either of those numbers because there's no equal sign underneath. So is 5 between -2 and 4? No. Is 4 in between -2 and 4? No, 4 is equal to 4, but we can't do the ones that are equal to 4. What about 0? Yeah. So now you could try to assume that A and B are going to be pink, but you do want to just make sure that you didn't mess something up. So for the pink, it's the x's that are greater than or equal to 0. So Brennan, this is my biggest hint or my biggest tip to you, because you were saying that like the inequality signs are a little bit of a struggle. So you're reading it left to right. So you want to think of the inequality sign left to right. So like this, x less than or equal to, because if it's greater than or equal to, the alligator would be eating the x. Okay, so it's pointing less than or equal to and then -2. Okay, so are my A and B greater than or equal to 4? Yes. Okay, so now we're just going to do all of them. Okay. So for my blue, I'm going to do D and E. So the absolute value of -2 plus 3 and the absolute value of -3 plus 3. What's -3 plus 3? 0. What's the distance 0 is from 0? 0. Okay, -2 plus 3? +1. How many spaces is +1 from 0? 1. Okay. Green is C. -0 plus 2.
where are we getting the 3 from? Okay.
Yeah, we're using that equation because those x's fall into the x's that are less than or equal to -2. Okay. Okay, what's 0 plus 2? 2. All right. Pink for A and B. So we go to the pink equation. 5 minus 1 and 4 minus 1. What's 5 minus 1?
4.
4 minus 1?
3.
There you go. Done. Okay?
So, okay, can we just
Yes.
TO. Boom shakalaka.
Okay. So again, we're always they're giving us the X's for all of these. We need to find the Y's. When you have an open versus a closed circle, what are you always going to choose? Always choose closed. All right. Let's do these guided practice real quick. You guys don't have the full graph on your paper. I don't know what happened. So you're going to want to look up here because part of your graph is chopped off. Okay. H of 6. Let's go where x equals 6. Bam. That one's not on your guys' graph.
Oh, that was funny.
The answer is negative 6.
Thank you.
So Brennan, see, this one doesn't have a point at 0, 0. It's the first one that hasn't. It was just coincidental that the first two did. Okay. Negative 3 for my x is at 7. I know your graph is not all on your paper. You can look at mine. Huh? All right, here, 4 is the tricky one. Which one are we using? The closed circle, so it's at a negative 4.
Tries to mess with you.
Okay?
Get in your head.
Okay, let's do that last guided practice. Don't be packing up your stuff. You still have 3 minutes left in class. You have all of tomorrow to work on your homework. Okay, again, tip number 1. I don't know if you were here for my tips. My strong tips are first to draw a line between the expressions and the inequalities that tell you what x's we're going to use. Okay? Then x is less than a negative 4. Is negative 1 less than negative 4?
Yes.
No, negative 1 is not less than negative 4. Okay, do you want to owe your parents $4 or $1? Okay, is 4 less than negative 4? Negative 4 less than negative 4, 0, 2. Guess what? Be prepared. You will have problems like this where they're going to try and trip you up.
No solution.
None are going to use the blue equation.
So do we like write something or just leave it?
No, just leave it. Because the other ones are going to fall into an equation. But don't, because you guys love to psych yourselves out on tests and try and convince yourself you don't know what you're doing. And this is an easy way for you to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't use that equation at all. Expect to see one like that. Okay? Here we've got x's between negative 4 and 2, including negative 4 and 2. Is negative 1 between negative 4 and 2?
Yes.
Is 4 between, no, negative 4? Yes. Yes. So 4 of the 5, we're using the green. And then the last one is only B. Okay? Are you guys good with then plugging those into the equations? Okay. So tomorrow you're going to work on this homework and you are going to work on any missing homework you have. Yeah, but you can leave it as a negative. You can leave it as 1/2. Leave it as a fraction.